All right, we're going to start by using the film and video template to create a new blank project. Let that process and load up. Check, check. So we'll see how much we get through today. I might show you the standard Unreal stuff first, and then we'll push the video to the end. I'm recording. I'm recording. Thank you. All right, blank map here. All right, so we're going to look at sequencer, which we already have a little bit in those sample projects. So those projects were, big, huge projects with a lot going on. But let's start with just something simple. Let's just put a cube into the world, a primitive shape. So I'm going to go up to the place actors, and we're going to go down to shapes. Just a cube. Maybe I'll lower that down to the floor a little bit so we can see its shadow. Okay, so simple primitive shape. Let's create a level sequence, and I'll show you how to do, like transformation animations using sequencer, and introduce you to the keyframes, which is pretty much the same as how you use keyframes to animate anything in Unreal. Controllers, light, material parameters, because you can have dynamic materials where you can control like changing from different colors to different brightnesses, all sorts of different things. It's all driven by sequencer. The sequencer is on the slate here, add level sequence. And I'm going to call this ls underscore, I don't know, my first level sequence. Whatever you want to call it. ls for level sequence, keeping with those naming conventions. And here we go. It's just another window down on the bottom. Level sequence. Remember, if you accidentally close this, you can always go back up to the window menu up top and reopen a sequence there. Or you can also, the easier method would be just to go back to the slate icon here, click the drop down, and now I actually have one listed, the one that I created. You can have as many sequences as you want in your world. Those projects that we looked at, the meerkat and the one with the fight between the woman and the monster, those had a lot of level sequences in them that were nested within a master sequence. Think of it sort of like nesting sequences in Premiere, or nesting compositions in After Effects, or any sort of program like that. So if you accidentally close that down, you can always reopen it there. All right, let's add this asset to sequencer. So there's a number of different ways to do this. You can click the big green add button. There's a lot of different places, things that you can add from there. You can go to add actor to track, and there it is, add cube. It's also a list of everything in your outliner here. The easier way may be to just find it in the outliner up top and just drag it in. Whatever floats your boat. As soon as I drag it in, you can see it's listed there. This static mesh comes with a transformation track. Just makes sense. That's about all it can do, is transform in some way. Translate, rotate, scale, something like that. Let's click the drop down on transform. What do we want to do with it? Why don't we rotate it? go ahead and set a keyframe. This should be pretty recognizable stuff, setting keyframes for animation, same as any sort of program that you've ever used with keyframes. So I don't know, maybe I will animate the Z value here. For those of you coming from a different 3D program, in Unreal, Z is up, not Y. You can see down here the coordinate system. Unlike most 3D programs where Z is in to the monitor and Y is up, Z is up in Unreal, which can cause some rotation issues when importing things sometimes. So remember to adjust appropriately in whatever 3D program. You can also adjust it and flip it in Unreal too, but it's just something good to know. So I'm gonna go ahead and set a keyframe at 0, and I don't know, I'll set another keyframe for 360 at the end of my animation. Hit the space bar, and ta-da, it's animating. Very, very exciting rotating cube. We're doing it, y'all. The timeline, you can also set the in and out points with the green and the red bars there. You can drag them manually. You can also set them down here with the buttons in the bottom. You can set looping, you can pause, you can jump to keyframes. You can extend the timeline with the numbers down bottom, exactly like Maya or any timeline that you've used. Same stuff. Okay. What should we do next? I don't know. Maybe I'll add a light. So I'm going to go back up to my quick add button, go down to lights. I'm going to do a point light. Or you know what? I'm going to do a spotlight. Maybe I'll put the spotlight above the cube so it casts a shadow. So the cube is not at 0, 0 for some reason, so maybe I'll put it at 0, 0. Make it easier on myself. Put the spotlight at 0, 0. Raise it up a little bit. We haven't really used lights even in our demo last week, but you can change the intensity when you're clicked on it. The lighting is based on inverse square law, like real world lights. So it gets every square of the distance, it gets half a stop darker. Set it to whatever color you want. Changed the brightness to whatever you want. Maybe I'll go ahead and click on my directional light in my scene, the sun. Maybe I'll turn that down too so I can see my spotlight a little bit. Maybe even more. I'll just have it be dark. Maybe not that dark. Cool. Light with spinning cube. This is my thesis project. Pretty dope. Other thing important with keyframes, interpolation. If you right click on the keyframe like you would expect, you can set what type of interpolation it has. Linear is probably what I want to use so that there's no easing on it. Another thing for those of you more familiar with animation tools, there is a graph editor in Unreal Engine, a curve editor. If you click on the little curve editor icon here, the grid in Sequencer, whatever track you're clicked on, you'll see, a graph of those keyframes, which is always really useful to see, especially when it comes to the keys interpolation. All right, so I added a light, still have my spinning cube. I haven't really done anything animation-wise with the light. Let's drag it into Sequencer. So grab my spotlight in Outliner, drag it in. Now check this out. I have some other features that come embedded in Sequencer with the light. Intensity obviously makes sense that you might want to animate the intensity, but also light color. If you click on the plus button next to some of these components here, you also get access to other features. Here's a bunch of other things that you can potentially animate with lights. A lot of them may seem scary. Cast shadows, does that light cast shadows or not? You could keyframe that. On, off, on, off, on, off. I don't know really why you would want to turn off shadows in this case, but you can. What is the outer cone angle? Maybe the cone of the spotlight grows over time. You could animate that. Bunches of stuff in here that we could animate, most of which you will never use. Color and intensity makes sense though. So maybe I will have this, I don't know, fade in and fade out sort of a thing. So I'm just going to keyframe the intensity. I'll just have it dim. You can copy and paste keyframes just like you would expect as well. As always, if I'm going too fast, please tell me. I am giving you guys a little bit of a crash course compared to how slow I would go for some people, because I know you all are more familiar with 3D. Okay, you need to create one, most likely. So click on the little slate. You open the window, but I don't think you have a sequence to show. An add level sequence. Yeah. Last class too. The spotlight doesn't really seem to like react whenever I see or anything. How high are we turning it up? Like very high, like 76. Try doing 10,000. And also make sure that it's colliding with the floor. From over here, it looks like maybe it's not actually touching the floor, so maybe move it down a little bit. No, maybe it is close enough. Just try turning it way up. I'm really high, but I've also turned the sun down too, the directional light. Oh, there you go. You're seeing a little bit of it now. Yeah, depending on, in this case, the brightness of the sun is making us use an enormous number. And also, depending on how the post-processing settings are in Unreal, that can determine our actual exposure too. That's something that we can get in more in the future. But right now, just if it's not showing up, just put bigger number of keyframes. Just right-click on them. So now I just have a little fade in and fade out animation of a light. Could also change the color over time too. Maybe I'll have this go to red and then come back to green while fading in and out. I think the greatest thing that y'all have going for you is that working in 3D already, you kind of know that there should be a way to do things. You have a little bit of that language, but it's a different UI with a slightly different system. So, you just got to learn that. But I feel like learning the UI is a lot easier than learning the concepts, which a lot of which you already know. Exciting animation here. keep playing around with that. See if you can get something similar to what I have. I'm going to step out. How's everybody feeling? All right? Easy? I see a lot of colorful lights, which is good. It's more like After Effects. In what way? You think so? Yeah. Yeah, the graph editor in Maya is pretty ugly. Everything in Maya is pretty. Everything in Maya, though, is a little bit of a mess. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's why everybody knows how to use it. My favorite UI? Uh, Probably the Nintendo Wii UI. Am I wrong? Maybe if we, yeah, yeah. Or this is gonna date me a little bit. I don't know if any of you have played this old timer game, but Mario Paint for the Super Nintendo, the Fly Swatter game. Look up Mario Paint. This is from like 1992. It's a very good Christmas morning for me. Anyways, oh, all that got recorded into the YouTube video? All right. That's what you get with this. You know, you can learn anything on YouTube from a 13-year-old, but you don't get these random asides from your professor. Anyways, what should we do next? Camera animation, I think. Camera or character animation, you pick. Shots? Yeah, if we do camera. You want to do camera or characters next? That's what we're going to do. Why don't we do character first so we have something happening that's a little more exciting than cube lights. And then we'll take it from there. Is that actually on this drive? Hold on. I don't think I put those. Give me a second. I need to upload some files for y'all. It's a little annoying having the two computers in front of me. Oh, this is not my Google account. This is Eve's Google account. Whoops. Gotta log out of that. So on the shared drive, there should be, well, hold on a second. On the shared drive, there should be, my class, DDA 500 underscore 43 virtual production rater. And there's a files folder there. There's a character zip file. It's just download and unzip that zip file. So in that zip file, I have 4 files. I don't know if this is sacrilege in this department, but these are animations from Mixamo. Is that a bad word in this department? It's fine. I have used Mixamo animations in commercial projects. That's what they're there for. Huh? It's on the shared drive. Should be on the shared drive. Yeah. Can you access it? No, right? Let's. Yeah. Man, I need to rethink this pipeline because it's annoying for me too. I just thought that was the easiest for everybody. And I have 2 different mice in front of me. There we go. Here, let me just make a like a short link for you. I don't think we're going to get to the Shanti one, but thanks for asking. Raider Pratt files. tinyurl.com/Raider Pratt files. I should probably take a picture of that too. All right. There's nothing that special about these files. It's pretty generic Mixamo animation. So there's a skeletal mesh here. It's just a dude in a motion capture suit, and then 3 animations. So this will show importing meshes into Unreal. What's going on here? This weird crosshair on my computer. New. Sorry, I think Unreal just froze for me. So. Oh no, and I don't think I saved this beautiful animation. Devastating. There is. You can adjust the time. Sometimes when Unreal crashes and you relaunch it, it says, hey, all this stuff wasn't saved. Would you like to try to salvage it? And you click yes, and then it says, I can't salvage it. Which is, it's like, thanks a lot. Yeah, right? Yeah, I think it's frozen. Bummer. Dang, this was going to be real. This is my thesis project, like I said. If this becomes somebody's thesis, if this is incorporated. Has to happen to everybody. Yeah, sometimes Unreal becomes a little unstable while screen recording for me on this laptop. Also have Maya open too. Oh, here we go. You did not shut down correctly. Do you want to try to auto-save this stuff? Yes, I do. The following assets could not be successfully checked out for revision control. That's fine. Do I still have them saved? Well, the airplane is going to take off over here. Wow, you are a professional. That is hardcore. $50.90. Hey, we recovered everything. Woo! All right. Anyways, where were we? Okay, we have those files. Let's start to import them. First, I'm going to create a folder. Go to the green Add button. And I'm just going to try to stay a little organized here. Add new folder. I just called my character. So the Add button, and then up top it says new folder. And then let's import. When you import, it imports the assets into the folder that you're currently located in. So import, and I'm going to browse to those files that I gave you. And the first one I'm going to import is the skeletal mesh. So important for you to know, if you can't figure this out by the file size here, the skeletal mesh here, the SK marker man, that FBX file is 5 megabytes. That is the mesh and the rig and the textures. All the other 3 files are just animations. Okay. So that's usually how Unreal suggests to do things. You don't need to import the mesh every single time you bring in an animation, assuming it's using the same skeleton. you can now have all those animations share the same mesh and the skeleton, which you'll see is pretty cool when we open up the animation editor. So SK Marker Man, open. It's going to pop up this window with a lot of potentially scary settings. It's okay. It's not that bad. This is where you can choose to import animations if there is animations. There's no animations on this. You can also choose if you want to import the textures or not. I'm just going to leave everything as is for right now. Click import. And a bunch of stuff imported. And a bunch of materials got automatically created too, which sometimes can work and sometimes does not work. So what do we got here? We have texture files, we have a couple materials for the bodysuit and the face. We have the skeletal mesh itself, which is that little skeleton icon. And then we have an animation sequence, which I think is probably just a T-pose. Looks like it, yeah. So if I double click on the skeletal mesh, here's my good friend Mixamo Marker Man. With no animations associated with it right now, besides the T-pose, which I guess imported as an animation, technically. So this is a skeletal mesh editor in Unreal. Up top here, there are 4 icons to browse through. Really just the 3 are what we really need to pay attention to. The first one shows you the skeleton itself, which is what Unreal calls joint systems. It calls them skeletons. It's the same thing, joints, bones, skeletons, different program, different name. Here they all are, and you can select them. You can also go into the view settings and view the skeleton if you want to view the skeleton. If we click on the next one, that shows us the skeletal mesh by itself, the pink one. This also shows us the materials that are associated with it. There are apparently 4 materials associated with this. I think one of the materials is messed up because he has pretty intense eyebrows right now. Sometimes when you import materials, especially from places like Mixamo, it doesn't set the opacity on the material up correctly. That's okay. We could just go into the material and add opacity to it. Maybe we'll do that if we have time a little bit. But right now, we'll just stick with his cool eyebrows. The next tab with the running person is the animation preview window. It's just a T-pose. Eventually, when we import the other animations, they will all populate here, which is important to have all the same animations attached to the same skeleton if you want to do things like blend animations or trigger them all on the same character. I suppose hypothetically, you could kind of like brute force one animation on all unique meshes that are the exact same marker man, but you know that's not very clean or efficient. Makes sense, I guess, for film where efficiency doesn't matter, but you might as well do it the right way. One mesh, import as animations without meshes. So like when you export a mesh from, export an animation from Maya, you just export the rig and not the mesh itself if you're doing custom animations. All right, let's import more. Or you know what, actually first, let's drag this dude into our scene. Skeletal mesh. Oh, we got to put him under the light though. Yeah. Nice. And he's not doing anything. That's fine. Let's import more stuff. I'm just going to stay in this folder for my character, and I'm going to import the other animations. Oh, not add. Go to import. And I'm going to select the other 3. Notice that they are titled A underscore. I renamed them. A for animation, naming convention. I'm going to import all 3 of them. This is a very important thing. Usually Unreal does a good job at this, at recognizing, but if you have characters that have very similar skeletons that are slightly different, Unreal might mess up. In this place right here, it says skeleton. If you're importing animations by themselves, they need to be associated with some sort of character that has a skeleton that's already been imported. In this case, Unreal detected that there's a character called Marker Man that has a skeleton. Yes, I want these animations to use this skeleton. Another important thing is that when you import things, make sure that you have checked import animations. Can't tell you how many times a student has told me, teacher, I imported my beautiful mesh character and nothing's moving. All right, did you check import animations box when you imported? I don't know. Go back and look. 9 times out of 10, this is what the problem is if that happens. So just make sure that you actually have the box checked for import animations. It should already be checked. I'm going to click import. And it imported all 3 of those animations, which I could drag in as unique characters into Unreal. But I don't want to do that because I want to animate them all on this dude right here. Clicking the play button in Unreal is not something that we really do in this class because it's more filmmaking based. But in this case, I'm going to click the play button. Well, it looks like I have little joysticks on too. And you can see Marker Man is animating 3 different ways. But that doesn't interest us. We want to do it on the timeline. You know what? Maybe I will brighten back up my sun because it's a little dark. There we go. At least until the end, the final render. I'm going to delete these dudes out of the scene. And I'm going to add this guy to my sequence, my timeline. So I have my cube and my spotlight here. Now I'm going to drag from outliner sk_markerman. Drag him in. There he is. We have a animation category here and a transformation category. You usually get a transformation with everything. But the animation one is new. These are actually called tracks in Unreal. It's called tracks in other sorts of programs too. So on the animation track here, notice that there is a plus button. If I click that plus button, it's going to give me access to all the animations that are using the same skeleton as that is inherent with the Marker Man. So as soon as I click the plus, I see all of those animations. So I'll click one, and it gets added to the timeline. My timeline is only 150 frames. It's quite short. So maybe I will grow my timeline a little bit here by just making a bigger number in the bottom. Wow, this idle animation is quite long. So I just made my timeline bigger by making the number in the bottom bigger. Same way you do with most programs. Oh no, my cube's gonna stop animating. And then Marker Man's gonna do his idle thing. I'm gonna have to rethink those animations. Or not. Why don't I drag my timeline out to past the idle animation here and click the plus on animation track again and do, I don't know, taunt. Oh, taunt is a much shorter animation. So I can move these so they butt up together. Kind of snap them together. And then it will snap between the 2 animations. Obviously these 2 animations weren't really made to go together. So, there is going to be a chop as it chops to the taunt. But Unreal does have built-in animation blending, and it's very intuitive to use. All you do is just drag the animation on top of the other one. If your animation comes in as a separate track like this, on a separate line, that can be useful for organizational purposes. But you can always just drag it up onto the same track. If we take this animation taunt and drag it over top of the idle one, you see that you get this kind of upside down or flipped over hourglass shape. That is where the blending is happening between these two animations. Now I'm just kind of riffing right now. I didn't really sketch this out or plan, so I'm not sure how well these animations will blend together, but we can give it a shot and see. Well, it's not horrible. It's a little slow, but definitely better than the chop, right? And you can adjust it too if you want it to happen more quickly. Oh, that's pretty all right. You know, he's standing there, idle, and he's like, hey man, it's time, let's go. It's taunt time. Whatever, this taunt animation is incredibly short. I guess him pointing at this watch is the taunt, I guess. And that's, yeah, that's you can keep bringing in animations if you wanted. We do have the run animation, but that's not going to blend very well. If you stretch the animations out longer than they are just going to loop. So see how that has the dotted lines? That's the loop point for this run animation. Taunt into run. In this case, this does not have a translating root animation, so he's just running in place. But I could actually transform him then if I wanted him to move across the map. Or I could have an animation that actually does have motion in the root already. Or not motion in the root, but have him moving across the map already. Beautiful stuff, y'all. You know, I might copy my cube animation to make it a little bit longer. Or you know what, I'm lazy, so I'm just going to drag out my keyframe to the end here. And I'll trim this down. I'll have the cube rotate 720 times instead of 360. Maybe I'll click on the drop down for my spotlight and copy and paste these keyframes a few times so it keeps flickering. Oh yeah, I'm happy with this again. Now the beginning is incredibly boring, but it's got to lead up to the taunt. It's all about that drama, right? There he goes. Now this is more of just a technical exercise, getting you comfortable with importing things and keyframing, not really trying to do anything groundbreaking here. Camera animation? Should probably, what? Don't we have 25 minutes? Huh? We go till 3:50, right? You just go when I tell you to leave? You just go when it's time to go? Camera animation. All right, so there's a couple different ways to create cameras in Unreal. The easiest way is probably just to do it in Sequencer. So down here with the little camera icon, you click that camera icon, it's going to plop a camera into your scene. Right now, I am the camera. I'm looking through the camera. How do I know? Because this little window right here says Sync Camera Actor. And also, the little camera actor icon in Sequencer is blue right here. If I unclick this, now I am back in my perspective view. Now I can see the camera. If I click on the little camera toggle, I am the camera again. I'll zoom it right into his face and then uncheck the camera, pull back, now the camera's right in his face. Makes sense, right? It's very useful being the camera yourself and driving it around. Another thing that you might have seen here get created is this camera cuts track. Camera cuts track is, think of it like a director track. If you've ever used software that cuts between cameras and it kind of sequences them together. The analogy that I like to use with the camera cuts track is, think of like a professional basketball game or something like that, or any sort of sporting event, or really any event that has a bunch of cameras all over. There's a bunch of camera people out there, different cameras, and then there's a director in the truck or wherever that is choosing which cameras to go out and broadcast to television, right? That's why they're a director. Think of the camera cut track like a director track. That's where you tell. Right now I only have one camera, so this is kind of redundant. But if you had multiple cameras, remember in the Meerkat demo that we looked at, there was all those cameras pointed at the little furry fuzzy guy. All those cameras were controlled by the camera cut track, the director track. Camera cut track says, okay, camera 1 play, camera 2 play. That's what sequences them together. And that's what determines what gets rendered out when you render. If this was some sort of in-game cinematic, that's what would determine which cameras play in your in-game cinematic. We're going to look at rendering in a second, but you always, always, always need to have a camera cut track when you render out. If it ever happens where you're rendering and it just renders something that is completely unexpected, like, I don't know, it just renders through the floor or something like that, or in the clouds, nothing like your cameras at all, it's probably because you don't have a camera cut track. It's an easy mistake to make, happens to everybody all the time. If I did have multiple cameras, let me just add another camera real quick. Let's have this camera at the side of his head. Ignore that it's out of focus right now. We'll look at that in a second. So I have two cameras, right? If I click on the camera toggle for this one, I look at this angle. If I click on the camera toggle for this one, I look at this angle. If I click them both off, now I'm just the perspective camera, right? If I click on the plus button on the camera cuts track, it lets me choose which cameras to add to the camera cut. So I'm going to add my second camera. And now you can see that a separate track got created. This is the camera actor 1. This is camera actor 2. And now, as I scrub the timeline, oops, I need to click on the toggle for the camera to actually look through it. Now, as I toggle my camera, or scrub here, it cuts between the two cameras. So let's just have this blank. Okay. So camera cuts track has nothing in it right now. So I say at frame 0, just going to jump back to the beginning. At frame 0, I want this camera to play, right? And then at frame 300-ish, click on the plus again. I want camera actor 2 to play. That's it. Now you can move them around. You can shorten them and lengthen them, whatever you want to do. You could have any number of cameras that you want in a scene. Some people like to cut between different cameras. Some people like to use more of like a one camera approach. The downside to using one camera is if you have a lot of camera movement, it can create like artifacting, especially if you have a camera at one side of your level and you're warping it really far away to another part of your level. When you render it out, you can get some weird motion blur artifacting that happens. In that case, unless you need that camera movement because it's part of the shot, it's better to have multiple cameras. Remember, camera cut track is a necessity when we render out. This is exactly what will get rendered out right now. what's playing in the camera cut track. Blurry camera 1 with cube moving in the background with spotlight, and then a blurry close-up on the side of his face. That's what's going to play. There's no animation in these cameras yet. I bet you can figure out how to do animation yourself on the cameras. It's exactly like animating the cube, except we have a couple more options now to play around with the camera. We have aperture and focal length and focal distance, focus distance. So why don't I go to frame 0, and you know what? I'm going to click on the camera toggle again so I can become the camera. And I'm going to drive myself backwards a little bit. And I'm going to lay down a keyframe right there, transform keyframe on my camera. And I want that camera to kind of swoop into this guy's face right before it cuts. So I'm still the camera. I'm going to go up to his face and lay down another keyframe. Now as I scrub, I get that camera movement. I might also want to focus, right? Or change focal length or one of those other things. Maybe I want it to, when it gets to the end, maybe I want it to be in focus. So I'm going to go into the manual focus distance here and adjust it until the guy's face is in focus. Pro tip about focusing. If you look at the details panel for the camera down here in lens settings or focus settings, draw a debug focus plane. That draws a debug plane of where the camera is currently focused at. You can also click on the eyedropper and then click on an actor and it will focus on it, but that doesn't really work for super close-ups because which part of the actor do you want in focus? You know? Well, I like that you guys gasped and were in shock over such a feature. You guys are such nerds. Wow, a debug focus plane. I know. I love you guys. Oh, that made my day. So here we go. Here's the shot, getting gradually more in focus. Probably should be more of a crash zoom, but whatever. Next time. And notice that the cut didn't happen here because I'm not looking through the camera cut track. I'm looking through just the first camera. So anything that I do after the camera cuts doesn't matter because unless I change where the camera cuts at, we're not going to see that. So here we go. Camera zooms in, gets more in focus. Focus cut. Right? And then I'm looking at the side of the guy's face for some reason, and then he starts to run. Oh, maybe I'll animate the other camera where, I don't know, it pulls back out when he starts to run. Incredibly amazing animation here. I really screwed myself over by picking this boring idle animation. I should have just sped everything up from the get-go. Well, stuck with it now. Got to finish the thesis as is. We'll speed it up in post. Speaking of post, maybe we should render it out. And then with the remaining time, try to bring something in from Maya. All right, so I think this is beautiful. shame on you if you're not impressed with this, but I'm going to render this out and call it a day and ship it. So clicking on the little slate icon in sequencer, notice there's two slate icons. There's the one up top to get sequencer and your sequences, and then there's the one in sequencer that actually does the rendering. So if I hover over it, it says render this movie. So if I click on that, it's going to open up this new thing called the movie render queue. The movie render queue is going to render out the sequence. And I have a camera cut track. If I click on the settings, which is currently unsaved config here, it's going to pop up another window, which is currently set to render out as JPEG image sequence. Y'all are familiar with rendering out image sequences, correct? Yes. This is something that we're not going to have time to get into today, bringing in video into Unreal. But when we do, it will always be done as an image sequence and not a video. There's a reason for that, because we need one frame of video to be on every frame of animation. Otherwise, things can get out of sync very quickly. So I'm going to get rid of the JPEG rendering. In the interest of time, I'm just going to render this out as ProRes rather than an image sequence. Y'all know how to combine image sequences into videos and stuff already, I assume, so we don't have to do that. But because we turned on the ProRes timeline, or plugin, not timeline, oh wow. This must be new in 5.6, and I never noticed. H.264 running. You know what? Let's take a risk here and pick the setting that I've never used before and try to render out an MP4. Sweet. That's cool. Rendering out ProRes is a plugin that we turned on in Unreal when we chose to do the film and TV project. You can also, I don't know if any of you have ever rendered out like DNxR, HR, DNx HD using those codecs. You can do that in Unreal too. Apparently now you can render out H.264 MP4s, which is great for testing. I render out ProRes a lot for testing, but otherwise, like if it's professional stuff, I'm always rendering out EXRs from Unreal. Have you guys worked with EXRs before? Yes. Oh, I love you guys. You're great. You know, EXRs are the legit pro way to do things. So, you know, later in the semester when we get into that, we can do that with Unreal as well, which is great because you can combine the multiple mats into the XR file and so on. But for right now, I hate to say that this animation doesn't deserve an EXR file or even a ProRes file, but you know what? It's just how it is. Output. What resolution do you want to render this out at? All this stuff should be fairly self-explanatory. If you've been able to navigate the Maya Arnold pipeline, then you should be able to have no trouble doing this. By default, this gets rendered to a saved folder wherever you created the project at. Saved movie render folder. I'm just going to keep it there for now. And I'm just going to stick with 1080p rendering out. Except render. In the future, we'll look at anti-aliasing settings, which will make things look a little bit more pretty. But for now, this is fine. Good enough for a thesis. Oh, hold on. I'm not sure why you would want to do that, but I told you. You know what? I'm recording a video, so you can watch it as many times as you want. In slow motion, at max volume, whatever you want to do. All right, now that those shaders have compiled, it is now rendering out. I thought this was a real-time gaming engine. We have to render still? Yep, sorry. but much faster than Arnold or whatever rendering engine you're using. Well, I see some other animations with Marker Man, which you know what, I'm feeling a little insecure about my thesis project. This looks pretty good. And almost finished. Ta-da. All right, let's browse to wherever this saved at. TJ, Unreal Projects. Saved folder. It's in the project wherever you created your Unreal Engine project, and then there's a saved folder, and then there's a movie renders folder. An MP4 file. Wow, that's really useful. Time to upload this to YouTube. Send it to my mom. We never did fix his eyebrows. All right. There you go. And we rendered out from Unreal. There are a lot more settings with the movie render queue that we can get into, but this is a good starting point for that. I did want to show importing from Maya really quick. So I thought maybe I would do something equally impressive, like you know, animate a cube. What is going on? What is up with why is Maya so tiny? Am I still recording? I'm still recording. All right, so this is probably fairly self-explanatory, but you know, cube. We're going to do some rotation on our beautiful cube. Woohoo! Maybe I'll turn these keys to linear keys. More rotating cubes. Great. And we want to export this out. So you can either bake it now or you could bake it on export. We want to make sure that we're exporting the animation. We want to make sure that we're baking it. This is not 200 frames. Let's make that, where's that last keyframe? 120. Everything else seems fine. Seems fine. What do I want to call this? Put it on my desktop, call it SK Cube, I guess, because it's animated. Okay. Moment of truth. The risk of a catastrophic failure is always very high with these live demos, so bear with me. Import. This is where I expect you all to be very impressed. SK Cube. Always want to make sure that we are importing the animation. It's already checked by default. Good. There we go. Bring it into my world. Whoa, that is a very tiny cube. Remember, 1 centimeter in Maya is 1 Unreal unit. So that is very tiny. Let's just scale it up by 100. It does have an animation on it already. We can go back to our sequencer, drag it in like we've done the other things, just collapsing all these menus. Skeletal cube, animation track, there's our animation. Drag it back, make it loop a couple times. Cube from Maya. Cube from Maya or cube from Unreal, which is more beautiful? Oh, you guys are biased though. Me? Excuse you. That's true. I think the cube has a little bit of wonky shadows going on with it right now because it hasn't been UV mapped or anything. Hmm? That it has the tearing on it? No, this is just a default Unreal material. It definitely puts a material on it. I mean, we could put anything. You can. You want to bake it from Maya? You can bake lights in Unreal. Well, I mean, like if you're making a mobile game or something, like you don't need dynamic lights. So let's bake the shadows into the textures. Do that. Whoa, what is this texture? It's just a cube though. I mean, so the UV maps aren't that bad. Whatever. Oh, but the same thing, if I made another animation where cube bounces and I exported that animation, I could bring it in just like we brought in the multiple animations for this guy, and they would pop up. If I went to the cube, then here, oops, not there, but here, then I would have bouncing cube. Incredibly simple animation, obviously, but the more difficult stuff is a similar sort of pipeline. Questions? Those are real tour de force of Unreal sequencer stuff with rendering thrown in. Just stuff that we're going to need to know going forward. Okay? Anything else I can show you? Cool. In Unreal? Yeah, we could look at that. If I don't know about you all, but I usually just have like 20 minutes to kill after this, so I'm in no hurry to get out of here. But happy to talk to you a little bit more. But if you have to go, that's our class today. There is no assignment for next week. Next week, you want one? No. I want 200 different variations of a bouncing cube brought from Maya into Unreal Engine. Oh, you want to do No, you have to manually animate them. One thing I just thought about this is complete tangent, but one thing that you can do, which might be interesting to y'all because you're Maya people, you can live link stream Maya animation into Unreal. So you could have them side by side. You could be animating in Maya and see the Unreal real-time beautiful lighting thing happening. Pretty sick, right? Not this computer. No, I'd be fine. Maya's not that big of a program unless it's just Google it. Yeah, it's a native thing. It should just be built into Maya now. Yeah, it should just work. I don't think you need to install anything. Maybe I'm wrong. Check it out. Any program. It's probably called Live Link Maya streaming. Streaming anything in Unreal is called Live Link. Yeah, streaming from like a Rococo suit directly into Maya or Unreal or Motion Builder or whatever program, Blender, anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rococo Studio.
But is that like if you're doing the live, do you still have to use that, or can you just use
No, you have to use it because that's the capture mechanism. That's what's taking the data from the suit. But you can broadcast it then to Unreal. So you could actually do recording. Did they stream it into Unreal?
No.
They hadn't gotten that working yet?
They were just showing how to record and how to basically add that
In Rococo, yeah. And then export just the FBX. Right, right. Yeah, I was having a little bit of trouble. I didn't get the streaming working because it's always like networking nonsense, getting the computers to talk to each other. I was trying to stream to my laptop, but
because then yeah, the other thing is that if you're using the suits Doug said we use the computer.
the laptop with the because it has because it's not on
It has its own
right.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah. That's always a problem that we have in any school that I teach in is that you can't broadcast data over the network. So we either have to bring our own routers, which is always frowned upon or a secret, or we install like VPNs to we use the free VPN at NYU called Zero Tier, and you can broadcast data anywhere with that. It's great. So you could be in Japan doing your facial motion capture. You could be streaming that data to Brooklyn here. Somebody in the Rococo suit could be streaming the data to a computer in Manhattan that is then VPNing all the data together. Pretty cool, right? So that's all. That's all. If you gotta go, you gotta go. But you had a question about tech materials or textures? Oh, okay.
You do that to try to wait on that.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's heavy. That's heavy. It's mostly the fan, though, right? The laptop.
Actually, see if the electricity. This is okay. This is
See you.
Is this charger? What is
Yeah,
this?
that's
It's
good.
my laptop. That is part of the laptop.
I had a 19-inch laptop right once that it was an MSI Titan, had dual RTX 2080s in it. I mean, not anything anymore, but that was cream of the crop back then. It was a $5,000 laptop, but it was this big,
Yeah.
and it was 12 pounds.
I have one of those were MSIs. I like the big one. It's so light.
Yeah, this is pretty light too. Yours is probably even more thin, right? This is like 4 years old at this point, but yeah, it's like 3 pounds, 3 or 4 pounds.
I went to Epic Games Studio and they gave me a little interview.
What's
And then-
that? Epic Games Studio.
Huh?
You went to North Carolina?
No, we have one in Manhattan.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. They gave you some swag.
They did. I met one of your former students.
Ooh.
Even? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
She's good. She went to NYU.
Yeah, she's over at Aerospace.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool because her company was like giving talk about some of the new stuff they did.
She made great work. She's like, yeah,
She was so nice.
super cool. It's awesome. Everybody keeps interrupting you. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
See ya. Yeah, of course. So, see ya. So just
Oh, shit.
the material?
Like it doesn't show me that.
No?
No.
What material are you trying to do?
I was trying to color. What do you call that? Do the levels for the shaders from Mega Scans.
Okay. Were these pre-made materials or do you want to make a custom one?
So I also wanted to make a custom one.
Sure.
So I was following the tutorial and then I couldn't get to the part where
Well, if you
he
click
was
on it,
making stuff on the
if you click on anything in the
okay,
world,
so what he did was he just went and made like a right click make material.
new
right?
material, yeah.
And then like double click that.
Yeah.
I did all of that and then this would not show up.
This
It
would not
just
show.
it would just show me that.
Oh,
And
maybe you
I
were
don't.
zoomed over here or something?
Is there like a way to get this?
If you delete, I don't think you can delete it.
Like this,
The window?
Yeah.
The palette? No, I don't think.
Because
This
I was
is like
googling it. And
this is the most important thing. Oh yeah, maybe. There.
yeah, this is all I could see.
Oh no.
And then what do you do?
Let's figure it out together. Close it down and reopen. Well, if you save it, it's probably going to keep that view, right? So if I close it now, and then I double click it again.
And
Usually
I
there's a
don't know the interface, so I don't know what to look for.
palette. It's not palette.
There is a whole color grading thing, but that's not it.
Usually there's a reset.
I was looking for node or graph or
Default editor layout. Oh shoot. Oh, that resets everything. Well, you could do that, but that resets everything. How did you accidentally pull this off?
I did not. Someone else might have done it. And then I just opened
That's
this
strange.
material thing.
It is called material graph. Where's it at?
I tried searching it. Oh, is it just that? The first one?
Oh, it's just called graph. You knew how to do it. You just set me up.
Did I? Thank you.
Yeah, of course. It's the little thing. It's always the little things that are hard to do, right? Yeah, 100%. You'll pick it up. It'll be fine. Sure. Target is fine, but you can use PNG or JPEG.
Because after I follow the tutorial to connect like the RGB lines, just looks so different.
Okay, so you have a texture from Maya, right?
Yeah.
Let me just try to see if I can import something here. Where's my content browser? So I don't know what sort of graphic we're going to find here. Mutant diffuse. That sounds like some sort of monster texture. All right. Good enough for our demo. So you're saying that your texture didn't look like.
Yeah, I was use for it as virtual texture as ACUD.
Okay.
I have multiple movies.
Okay. And it was connected just to base color?
I connect everything, like roughness, message.
Oh, okay, okay.
Brightness.
Is this coming from Substance Painter?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. Did you do what is it? Red goes to ambient occlusion,
Yeah, I did.
green goes to roughness, and blue goes to metallic. Okay. Could be sometimes maybe if you go into the texture, sometimes if it's in sRGB, sometimes it doesn't import with sRGB, and that can make it look weird. See, like washed out like that. Maybe.
Yeah, then maybe the reason.
I don't know exactly what the problem was, but that can happen. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially like I forget off the top of my head with the like the diffuse texture you want sRGB, but I don't remember if you're supposed to have the the RGB texture for the roughness and all that. You're supposed to have that as a sRGB or not. Try it.
I have to change it because in Maya I always change it to raw
Yeah, probably then.
because I don't know if I need to do that.
I would try it. Substance Painter, Unreal, sRGB, roughness. sRGB washes out textures. Could be.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head which one is which.
So that I can do it.
Yeah, I would check that out. I'm sure that grayscale textures are not. Yeah, I think that's probably the thing. You don't want it to be sRGB.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it's changing the color space. After importing your roughness, metallic, and ambient occlusion, open them and uncheck sRGB.
Oh,
Could be.
okay.
Could be. Yeah, give it a shot.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep. See ya.